Maybe. It's it. Hello, everyone. Oh, I see Jess. Hi, Jess. Hello.
Hello. I'm getting ready to mute because I always end up with the feedback. I'm like, I'm ready. Oh, here it is. There we go.
Well, we're excited to have you for 15 minutes, Jennifer. A good a time as any, always. Becca, what are you working on? Even though I just watched your video, you might not be working on what I think you're working on, though. So.
No, I am. I'm working on Hexsphere. Yeah, so that is my solid focus. I'm not even going to edit Dream Diaries 2 or anything. I really want my focus to be on drafting, at least for the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
Whether I finish or not. You know what I mean? I just don't want
to be bothered by anything else.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, okay. So today I'm doing this experiment where my family's controlling my writing vlog. So it's a little
that's the one that got picked. I voted for that one.
Well, it didn't get picked, but I'm doing it anyway. So that's what I was like, I like this idea too much. Anything I can bother my family for, I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
So that's today. My brothers are evil. It's fine. But I am actually drafting for the first time all year because all 15 days of it. Because that's what was selected. But I'm writing the third book in the Meridian Maps series. So talking about drafting, it's just been so fun today because I never wrote the opening scene for this one. So now I'm over here like, ooh, the beginning. It's so easy. It's the best. So that's been good.
It really is. That's seriously, that's why I think I'm just really enjoying myself right now, because it's like I get to introduce the world, I get to get characters and this. And it's like, oh, this is the fun part.
Yes, oh my God, the first 10,000 words, I'm like, this is the best kind of writing. Like, this is it. Oh, look, Tamara. Hi, Tamara.
That's so funny. I know. It's always, I think, well, not for everybody, but for me, the middle part is usually where it gets hiccupy. And I had an outline. And I'm like, within the first chapter, I'm like, right off of it. I'm like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah. It's all part of the process.
Yeah, so I'm debating whether or not to re-outline now or just to get a couple chapters and then re-outline.
I have been thinking about that a lot recently because of my ever-evolving process. I still love the zero draft, but I sometimes wonder if, because the first 10 to 15,000 words I really am, or just the beginning part of the story, I'm like, this is pretty much going to stay the same throughout the, like, at least the main points of it. It's when I get to the middle that I feel like I need that outlining time, that thinking about it time. And so I'm thinking kind of switching stuff up so that I just write and then take a little break, outline, figure it out, and then go, like a weird start-stop thing almost.
Yeah, I think that definitely, especially with the middle, like if you don't have it quite figured out, and if you go off, and like, I mean, because I know you zero draft, so I would imagine by the time you get there, it's all like you now have a clearer picture of what you want to do.
Yes.
So
yeah.
That. Yeah. So I'm kind of, I guess I'm kind of doing a little bit of your zero drafting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the plan, but
yeah. It's going to be so interesting to see over the years how many of us kind of go, speaking of Brooke, because I put her on there, but Brooke used to be a pantser or considered a pantser, and now she's freaking outlining and plotting stuff, and I just, it's just going to be interesting to see how many people change, and I feel like processes change for every book, so it's also that, but
Yeah, that's very true, actually, because I was thinking about that even in terms of screenplays. When I used to do screenplays, I always outlined, but I didn't outline in the same detail that I do books. So, and it was easier in a way because you have, I would know the plot points, And sometimes, even though I didn't have all the scenes, it was easier to build to a plot point in that sense. So it's almost like pantsing, I guess, because you're still building. So you're still creating scene by scene to build to this point. But it's so much harder to do in a book because it's so much longer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my problem. So. Oh my gosh, there's so many people here.
I know. Hello, everyone. This is the first write-in I've done all year because, Jessica and I did our like authortube chat, but I haven't like done one myself with our write-in.
Like
so
actually writing.
Graduated with a plotter. We wanted to do the certificate.
I was gonna say that's the thing is you never intend it, and then it's you find things that start working for you, and you just got to go with it.
Yep. Well, do we wanna start?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. How long? This is a conversation we have every time. I feel like.
I know. I'm like you go for the shorter. I'm always for the longer. So. Let's say it's up to the audience, maybe.
Yeah, I still want to figure out a way we could like put polls into the thing. I wish that was a thing that could happen more easily.
Yeah.
Well, okay, we got 2 back-to-back 12:34s, so I feel like if that's not a sign, what is?
That's interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was gonna say most people are saying 10 or 15. So
yeah. So we'll set that up. Becca and I were talking before about how I really loved her video, and she's talking about doing like hour-long work sprints and stuff. And obviously that would be too hard to do on but I'm kind of thinking that maybe I'll start experimenting with longer sprints during the write-in. So we're I'm like, maybe not.
It's so funny because I do the live with Hina, and she's the opposite of you. So she always wants to do like 30.
Yeah.
And I'm always the one taking her down to like 20. And then with you, although now it seems like you're saying it's changing, but normally it's all like, I'm like 20, 25. And you're like, well, let's just start with a 10.
Let's calm it down a little bit.
Let's take it down.
That's good. You have the best of both worlds, kind of. Or like neither are perfectly what you want, but
we'll just do 20s all the time. That's what
I would actually be really interested in doing a live stream where it doesn't change.
We tried it yesterday of just doing 2020 for 2020, Yeah,
that's so good.
It was actually kind of nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, things to consider.
For the future to consider, yeah.
Yes. All right. Is everyone ready? Becca, are you ready?
I am ready.
Start. All right. So I had just watched Laura's video also. We kind of talked about that before, but I was thinking maybe instead of always sharing the number of words we got, we could discuss what we learned about the story. Laura made some really good points in her video that I liked. And I was like, well, sometimes, you're revising a scene or you learn something about your characters. So if you want to share how many words you got, but also share something cool that you wrote, we can do that too. So, Becca, what part of the story were you working on? How did it go?
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been trying not to count lately on my shorter sprints. Even before Laura's video.
Yeah.
And just sort of measuring by what I accomplished during that sprint.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, this time around, it's like I'm kind of deciding not to describe people like in terms of
Appearance.
like hair and like skin color and like things like that. Like I describe them, but I describe them as like tall or what they're wearing, or they carry themselves with an arrogance, or their eyes twinkle when they look at you, or that kind of thing. And I'm really enjoying it, because for me, I don't want any of, and I made all the character names in Hexsphere very, like, you can't tell what nationality, what, because it just, I don't want any of that to matter. I just want people to care about the characters, and, like, I just, so that was interesting. So I was doing some descriptions in this last sprint that I was actually getting excited about, because, it's like, I still feel like you get an idea of who this person is, but, you don't have to know their hair color or their eye color or their whatever,
Right. Yeah. One person's mental image could be something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who's notoriously bad at describing stuff, that's how most of my drafts often look, is that I don't really describe what they look like. And it's only until later that I like kind of throw some stuff in. So I've had people read books and they're like, I mean, I imagined them like this. And it was awesome. It was great. And then I find someone else who imagined them a different way, because I might have said something once and only like the hair color. And I'm like, oh, the interesting thing for me writing Project Death, because you don't use names, was how I then had to almost hyper focus on descriptions of, potentially what the characters look like. And I was thinking about if there really was a world like that, like my character is in Project Death is often referred to as like a girl with a scar, because she has one visibly on her face kind of thing. And so like, that's what people, when they're talking real quick or something, say, yeah, the girl. And it's just so interesting how that's a thing, but both are kind of like stretching you as a writer. But I can totally see why you'd be like, who cares? Like, what potentially, if the story's not about that, then.
Yeah, because it's always about the person's insides anyway that we connect with. We don't connect with, the person because of what they look like. I mean, I know in a romance you probably do, but then not always, because what you find attractive, other people may not find attractive. So they could read that book and go like, I'm not even interested in this book because I'm not attracted to the main character,
Romance is so good for so many things, but it's like stuff that I wouldn't be interested in. I'll read a romance and you can tell it's so from the point of view of the person who already finds them attractive, because then it could be like they have brown eyes, and let's pretend I'm not into brown eyes, but like they're like, it's warm and beautiful and whatever. And it makes me feel, and like it's such a good study in how to like manipulate words almost to like, don't focus on what it actually is, focus on this. So
Right. Oh, Shalina was saying, I hope it goes well for you. I tried that and readers got mad that I didn't give enough description about what they look like. Hard to find a middle. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm going to probably have to figure out when I give it to beta readers and stuff like that, is it going to be an issue? Like, are people genuinely going to be like annoyed? Like, well, I want to know what they look like. Describe them more, and if that's something that I take in and then, use, or if I just decide I just want to go this way and kind of go. I don't know because it's weird. The way I'm describing them, I feel like it's not like they're not going to notice that I'm not describing them.
Again, I'm the worst, and whatever I picture in my head is just kind of like with Emily. You can describe a character to me, but if I've already had a mental image of them, it may not fit at all. But like, this is the character to me. So for me, it's like, I think that could work out great. But I see how some readers it could bother them. But like,
it's funny because actually with Riser, my first book, I described Ryan, who was her first, her love interest. I described him as Stefan, which he has a shaved head.
Yeah.
And I give my beta, my beta readers were high school students. My friend was a teacher, and all of them, not just like one or two, but all of them were like, ew, I don't like shaved heads. And I had to change it. Like I had to make him have swoopy brown hair or something like that. And I was all like, okay, I mean, this is like overwhelming, but man, they were like, no shaved head. Ew, And I was like, okay,
that's
no problem. My husband's bald, which is why
that's so funny. I would not have thought about. I wonder if also, because I know that, and not that was that long ago, but I wonder if readers now would have as much of an issue if they'd just be like, yeah, that's just what the character looks like. It's fine. But it is interesting.
As teens, I guess they just don't like it. I don't know. So anyway, it'll be interesting. Like I said, I will be very interested to see if like people are saying if I'll get like kickback for it or not kickback, but you know what I mean? Like,
People
you know,
but getting crap for it. Yeah, but if it's like a purposeful choice, and it's like if I realize it's the stylistic thing of the author, like I mean, that or for the book specifically, like that's kind of interesting. Like it might make the book stand out more.
Maybe.
Too. I don't know. Yeah, that is it. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I say as I'm like over here, like, let me beta read. I would 100% not help you with that decision. I'd be like, it's great.
Fine, whatever.
However I want to anyways. I like that Brooke said that in Stephen King's On Writing, he said that if he described the way someone dressed, it was more that he was describing their style rather than they wore a red button-down shirt with sandals, which is kind of, I think, to your point, which is more like how they're presenting feeling people get off of them anyways. So
yeah, exactly. Like a t-shirts and jeans kind of guy, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm scrolling back up to see how people did during the sprint.
Oh yeah.
Look at that. See? Jasmine got 372 words, but also learned that her characters like each other. So fun.
I was gonna say that's also awesome. Surprise.
Yes. Great. Hard same. This is why I cannot write by hand.
I tried. Oh gosh, I know. I have the same problem. I used to only write by hand, and then it just was such a pain typing it back into the computer and trying to figure out what the frick I was saying.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so funny how much it like clearly made sense to you at the time. I remember being like, you know, when you pause for, you're like, I don't know that that's like super legible, but there's no way I would forget this stroke of like, just keep going. 100% forgot it. Not
I know. I'm just looking at it like, what am I saying here? I have no idea. Oh, God. It's so funny.
Oh, I'm seeing people talking about the Hemingway editor, which I don't remember if I've used before. Have you used the Hemingway editor?
I've never heard of it, so no.
I think as I scroll back through the comments that I can't find where I saw people talking about it. I think it's like one of those, just a website where you can like enter part of your story in. Okay, talking about it here. Don't know if I can find it again. Y'all let me know. Free online version. But what is it? I have questions, you guys.
Yeah, is it like a Grammarly type thing? What is it?
Okay, Jess is over here like we've discussed it before. I just forget names. This is why I don't name characters. I don't remember it.
I didn't discuss it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I hope it doesn't turn your novel into a Hemingway novel. I'm not a fan.
Like, not what you want. It's like Grammarly, but totally free. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to try it because Grammarly is not the greatest. Like I actually tried the the paid version.
Yeah.
And I did a sample page with purposeful errors just to see what it would catch and what it didn't catch. And it didn't catch like 70% of them. And then like the ones, and this was misuse of words like flee, like the little flea, and flee, like running to flee, like stuff like that, where you're like, that should be obvious that in this sentence they are fleeing or like, whatever. It's not little bugs.
Yeah. One's a verb, one's a noun. This is not.
Yeah. So I sort of was like, I'm not, or I just didn't want to end up relying on it, like,
Yeah.
I think, I was probably going to.
Yeah. No, that's good to know. I was thinking about Grammarly is one that they advertise on YouTube all the time. And also I have recently been getting a lot of Stitch Fix ads. So much. I don't know if you've gotten any of them.
Mm-mm.
What did I do? Sometimes I wonder about these like targeted ads. I'm like, what did I Google that is like, this is it? I swear I get it every time. And I try and watch people's ads through, but I've just been like every Stitch Fix one. And it's not even that it's bad. It's just that I've gotten it so many times that I'm like, I can't do it. Oh, Brooke's asking about commas. Commas are so interesting because that's another one that I always wonder sometimes if it's like a stylistic choice for people. I say that's the stylistic.
Yeah. I was going to say though, with Grammarly, like this is my only experience, they got the commas wrong because you know how you're like when someone says something, so like in quotations, and then you say like she asked or whatever, and then it's a comma, quotation mark, and then the she is lowercase.
Yes.
But in Grammarly, I put a period, and then I think I put I can't remember. Anyway, it didn't catch
correct, right?
It was like one of those things where it wanted me to put like a period instead of a comma for the she asked or whatever, and I was like
that's not it.
Yeah, so well, there's just too many things like that made me go, okay, this isn't worth my money.
Lauren cracks me up, but also I too overuse commas like so much, all the commas.
I am a massive abuser of commas. Like my editor gets so mad at me.
Really? They're like, don't need them.
Oh my God, you and commas. Like they get so just like.
I think it's one of those things that because at some point in my learning English, I had enough teachers who were like, no, you put commas for where you're supposed to pause. And then you find out not until way later that that's actually not always true and maybe actually is less true. And then I don't know. So, but I'm over here like, no, you guys should pause here. This is for dramatic effect.
It's like, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Team comma.
It's true. It's like, because you do want those natural breaks. Like otherwise, when you read the sentence, it almost means something different if you don't put the comma in.
Yeah, and I also just finished. I was gonna see if I could grab the book. Have you ever read Fahrenheit 451 before?
A long time ago, like it's in like high school, I think.
Yeah, I never had to read it, and since I'm going through all of these classic books, but I actually love that he completely at times just abuses the English language and is like, no, this is what it's gonna, but it works. I actually thought it worked so well, but because I was just like, yeah, it feels like I'm reading it out loud, like I know exactly where you want me to hit, but I can see other people it not being their thing, but for me, it's like, yes.
This is awesome.
Yes.
All the commas.
All of them. Well, shall we start another sprint?
Yes.
And then the question is always, how long do we do it for? Should we do the 20-20? We could just do 20 minutes, 20 seconds. full like ramp up to the 20 minutes? Becca's like over here all the time, sure. Unless y'all tell me no, this is what we're going to do. Oh, look at that. Some people's favorite books. Yes, Kelsey D. Okay. All right. I'm seeing people saying yes to 2020. Spring, yes. 2020, yes. We're doing it. Okay.
Yes. All right. I got to fix my forest app to 20.
Oh, good call. Second sprint. I don't know why I always get so enthused about something and I forget I have to do all this setup to get us ready. It's like, oops. Okay. I think I got it now. Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Becca says yes. Okay, start. Yay!
Yay.
All right. Turn it back up. How'd you do? How'd the sprint feel?
It was good. Although I felt like I had to, you know how it is when you're like in the middle of a thought kind of thing.
Yes. You're like, I have to get it out now.
Yeah. I put enough words to remind myself what that thought is, because otherwise I will forget and then be like, what was I going to say? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang it.
God. Anyway, how'd you do?
I did good. I'm realizing as I go along, because this is the third book, I'm having to add in a lot of brackets where it's like either reference back to this or double check this. So I think it's one of those times where it's going to be, eventually I will be spending a lot of time going through the other drafts and being like, okay, how is this all gonna,
God,
how's this gonna fit? How's this gonna make sense?
I know that one. I know I'd have like on when I was doing sequels, and you know when you're writing your draft, and then sometimes I put in parentheses like, did that really happen? Like, go check in book 2.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's so hard also because, you know, all the drafts go through so many rounds. I've totally taken scenes out or completely changed scenes. And then my brain doesn't always remember which ones make it into the final, like, because sometimes I'll have loved a scene but it just didn't fit, and so in my head the scene still happened, it just couldn't work in the story. And
Right.
so then later I'm like, oh yeah, that thing, and it's like, no, nope.
Oh man. Yeah, it's weird not counting words anymore, but I think it's healthy. So for me, I know, because I know some people need to do it to just like kind of keep track of how much they do during the day, so they know like, okay, I did this amount today, you know, so then but for me, I'm just like, I'm actively trying not to, and so
Yeah.
it's kind of weird.
I wrote in the comment on Laura's thing because one of my big goals for this year is actually to track my writing, because I don't usually, but I'm tracking, some of them are words at the end of the day if I'm drafting, but I'm not actually doing that much drafting this year is the plan. It's mostly like revising scenes and counting it that way. And so I don't tally anything up until the end of the day. And then I'm doing it to help me to see how long, you know, different processes take for the publishing side. So I was like, it is a business move, is what I was trying to tell her. Like, I had agreed with her. It's not like for my own creativity that I think
right
help this stuff.
Yeah.
But for the business side, for me to be like, okay, this is how, you know, I can reasonably do something, and I'm just gonna track it. So far it's been fine. So
yeah, I mean, that makes total sense, especially if you're planning on doing fast releases and like things like that, or even just how long does it take me from start to finish to have a product that I can publish, you know? And that's definitely information, you know, you should know. I never did that, you know, so it was just more like I finished them when I finished them, and I tried to finish them within a year of each other, the sequels and stuff. But I can totally see if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna be doing a series and stuff like that, that's I mean, it's good information to know about yourself and to know how long it's gonna take you.
Yeah. Especially writing across multiple books or multiple series or like whatever. It's just like, how much, you know, if I'm putting in the time here and here, how can the speed work? I don't know. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So we'll see. Or I might learn exactly what Laura said and I can be like, this is terrible.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking of Emily too, because Emily is doing something similar, so she knows exactly like how long it's going to take till, you know, draft to publish. And so I was thinking about that too when I was watching Laura's video. So I do see where it works for people and why they feel it's necessary, especially when you go the self-publishing route. You know, you really kind of need to know. Hi, Phoebe.
Yeah, well, I always thought it was interesting how you said that at the time when you were when your goal was to publish the series once a year was because just within the book world at the time, that was standard. And now that, at least within self-publishing, is like kind of shifted, depending on what your goals are still, though, because obviously there's tons of people who are like, when it's done, it's great. But then there are people who are releasing like so quickly. So yeah,
it's interesting because you'd really have to see their sales numbers to know if it really does make a difference that they're releasing them fast, or if they're releasing them once a year. You kind of almost would have to have a really huge following, in the sense of people that are, really want to buy your book for fast publishing, or fast, for that to even be a model, I feel like. Because otherwise it's not that to say like no one's waiting, but a very like small probably percentage of people are waiting, and not enough to make it like a huge business. Eventually you want that to be bigger, of course, but I feel like a lot of self-publishers anyway that are in that sort of starting out, or to even like, like even like with me, I've been doing it for 10 years, but I have like a small group of people that read, whatever I write. Like I come out with a new book, and then I know I have like a certain amount of books that I'm going to sell when I release something, but it's not huge by any means. So fast releasing really wouldn't help me, I don't think.
Yeah. That's what I've listened to so many podcasts, and people just obviously have different ways of doing things. And then even within different genres, there's certain expectations, like watching, the Courtney Project and her and her co-writer under Kennedy Fox, they're releasing stuff just all the time. Yeah. And then, there's the Joanna Penn, since I love the Creative Penn podcast, and she's just like very much, she tried it and realized it did not work for her at all. It is not how she writes. And you have to keep the fun even when it is like your business, especially as something that's creative. So it's just.
Do you think that that's different? Because in romances, because I do feel like with the Courtney Project, I think the reason why that works so well for them, the Kennedy Fox, is because they're romance books. And I feel like romance readers are always like consuming.
It's like a voracious. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely the romance genre.
Yeah.
Is like that. I don't know that I've really heard that many other genres that do the thing, though I do know some. Actually, I was saying that. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it might just be romance.
I feel like for sure, if I was writing romance, I would 100% want to do fast releases, because that's where, not just with Courtney Project, but with like, with self-published, with traditionally published romance, like I feel like across the board, romance novels are all about the fast releases. They just want more and more and more of those, because they're just, people read them so fast. Like, it's kind of a crazy genre. I mean, I can't write romance like that. So I almost wish I could, because I feel like that would be really good. You can. So I'm excited to see actually how you're do.
Yeah. I don't know. That's the thing, though. That's why it's all going to be, a learning curve kind of thing, where what does and doesn't work. And because I like to write in different genres, I can see I don't know that I'd ever, and not to like say that romance is like overly simplistic, but for me, it's a lot easier to write a contemporary romance. And since I love character more than world building, then actually when I'm doing my fantasy stuff, I have to put a lot more work into the world building, because it doesn't come as naturally to me. So I can't imagine how some people would be able to even fast draft or, fast release those, unless you held it for so long. Yeah, I just don't know.
There's got to be some statistics on that.
I know. Where are they? Lauren, I have no romance in my life, so I forge it into my fiction.
That's right. Oh, man. Oh, Brooke has a question.
Oh, did I miss it? Where is it? I don't even see her.
It says, did anyone watch Alexa Dawn's video about New York Times bestsellers list? It was
Oh,
really interesting, and I already knew a lot of the list isn't really best selling, but her video was so intriguing. Ooh.
I have not watched it yet, but I have it in my watch later. That one and the and another couple from her recently, where I was like, I am so curious.
You're like, oh, I am intrigued.
Because I remember, however many years ago, where it's like you could buy your way onto the New York Times bestseller list, and then they tried to like, you can't do it as explicitly now, but I have still heard that it's kind of like a little bit of a lie. Like you can still.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean,
How many people, if you Google it, like, and I follow a bunch of authors and I do not begrudge them doing this at all because I would 100% do it too. But like, even though it's a flawed system, there's so many people, it's like, it's a thing to be like #1 New York Times bestseller or something. I remember the way you can say best-selling author if you've done it like twice or can you do
wow.
or it's like you wrote a bestseller, but you've only done it once, and then or people are manipulating. I don't know. It's all just fascinating.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about it, so
Yeah, look at that. People are saying it was amazing. So
we'll check it out.
I know. Oh, the Wattpad one. That's the one that I have on my watch later list. I was sitting here and I always forget the name of Wattpad for some reason, but I've been so curious about it, so I'm excited to watch that.
Oh, does she do one on Wattpad or something?
Did a video recently where she's like, should you publish to Wattpad basically? And there are traditionally published authors and obviously successful indie authors who have done that route or do it concurrently, like Susan Dennard, who has a story that's on Wattpad. And so it's just
That's kind of fun. I think that's kind of fun.
yeah. And I even liked her video. This is just an Alexa Dunn gushing video now, but I liked her video recently about like, does YouTube help sell books? And so I thought it was interesting hearing her perspective on that from her experience kind of thing and how she's trying to convince more people to come to YouTube rather than say trying to sell your book on Twitter kind of thing.
Now, if she's traditionally published, how does she know if YouTube is helping her or not?
I think I think you'd have to hope that it's all comparing what expectations are versus certain things. To me, it sounded like she can tell that there's like the tail end of her sales. So like the immediate sales that you get from release and like whatever. And then it's died down like a lot of traditionally published books will do once they stop kind of pumping the money into it. But it sounds like the tail for her is bigger than expected just from new people discovering and then buying the book and whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so you're saying like the advertising sort of stops for her books because of the publisher, so she can tell that the downloads are coming from because she's not paying for the advertising, so she knows they're coming from somewhere, and then that makes sense.
Yeah. And look at that. See, and Lauren had great experience with Wattpad. My question now, though, Lauren, is would you go back to Wattpad? Lauren, speaking of people with fun videos, Lauren had a really fun video where she talked about like a decade in writing and she went over some of her old stories. Oh, one of my favorite videos I have watched recently. It's so funny. It's so good. And I want her to bring back some of the stories. So I'm on a campaign now. That's what this is.
Nice. Should we do another one?
I think so. Yeah. How long do we do it this one for? That is the question.
Well, we can stay on the 20 if you want.
Good. That's it. All right. We're with Becca. We're staying on the 20. It's going to be 2020.
Then we don't have to go crazy like 25 or 30 or anything.
I'm over here like, that would be so much.
Although everyone's saying like 30, they're like 30. Like,
sorry.
Oh, a lot of 2222, my favorite number.
Oh, that's true. It is your favorite. All right, we got to do it then. How quickly we can be swayed. Me. All right. Are we ready? Becca, are you ready?
Yes.
Start. Ooh, time.
Oh, I just have to finish the sentence. Okay.
I was over here like, go, Becca, go, Becca. But I didn't want to say it out loud because I was like, distraction.
Yay. Okay, I finished chapter 1.
Hooray! That's awesome. That's so exciting. So we've like introed our main character and
Yeah, absolutely nothing that I had planned for chapter 1 was in chapter 1.
perfect.
But I realized the reason for that, it was because I had pretty much planned out the characters and like the relationships, the romances, the triangles, the this, the that, whatever. And then I made like the big like attack kind of thing happen in the middle of the book, and I realized I'm not setting that up at all. Like there should be a build up to that. And then I realized, holy shit, there needs to be an attack in the first chapter.
Yeah.
So that's what it ended up being. The whole chapter was about this attack. So
Ooh.
I didn't even get to the romance or anything. So
yeah. I like that though. I'm such a fan of starting in the middle of the action and or like as a reader, and I know other people disagree with this, so this is again one of those things, but I don't mind being confused for a little bit. Like, I don't always need to know the world. I don't need to know the backstory in the first bit.
Right.
If I'm sucked in, I actually kind of like learning about it as I go.
Okay.
So when it's like immediately like, boom, I'm like, okay, what's happening? I'm curious. So I like that.
Okay, good. Well, we'll see how it turns out. Right now, it's just puking, so.
Yep.
All the puke.
I got to the first action-y sort of scene of the book because, you know, they're pirates. There has to be
Yes.
all sorts of different stuff going on. So that's always fun. But I was like, haha, I get to start the book this time with it. So.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Yay. Oh, I'll try to get comfortable.
I know. That's what my legs are crossed too. And I'm just over here like, I think I've banged into this desk like 5 different times. So I apologize if I'm just like.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Let's see. Oh, I've heard about the Alpha Smart machines a lot recently, I feel like. And they do sound really cool.
What is that?
It's like, if you look at it isn't quite a laptop because it like basically doesn't have any distraction. Like it doesn't even have a full screen. You can just kind of see what you're writing on like this amount of space almost. And then it's like a normal keyboard and it's all one thing. But it sounds really cool. One of the authors that I loved, kind of growing up reading young adult, she wrote on this Alpha Smart and I was like, so I've been back.
It's like a word processor type thing?
Almost, yeah, like because it's the actual computer machine thing, but it is just like almost exclusively for word processing. So
okay.
That's my understanding.
I remember my first I was gonna say, my first writing machine was a word processor. Okay, as a digital typewriter. Interesting. So it is a word processor.
There you go. I think you got it. You nailed it. You didn't even need to see it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Everything's coming back again.
Yeah. Everything cycles. We're all in this, just all the trends, all the wars. That's terrible. But like, humans, that's again, I really like Fahrenheit 451. They talk about that in the book. I'll just
yeah, exactly.
They do just look like a big calculator. That's what I need. No internet.
It's such an addiction.
It really does feel like that.
It's hard. Like I can't I can't go without looking for something.
I know. And that's why, and I'm not even someone who thinks of myself as on my phone a lot compared to like my friends or something. And yet I will totally reach for it, not thinking about it. Cause I'm like, oh, I'm bored. But it'll be in the middle of writing sometimes where I'm like, this is just kind of hard. I should look, but also, okay, the background.
Oh, my background. Yeah. So I put, because I live in an RV and I don't get to have my books with me, and that kind of bums me out sometimes. So I actually made this in Photoshop of all my favorite book covers, and then my books too. And then I printed them onto fabric on this site called spoonflower.com. And so I just made the background. So now I've got all my favorite books behind me. It's like a bookshelf.
It looks so cool. That's what I still can't, even just like in the live thing, because obviously this quality isn't that great or anything, but like even just through StreamYard, it looks awesome. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Spoonflower is really good about their quality. Yeah, it depends. Like some fabrics work better than others for sure. But yeah, it's the cotton seems to bring out all the colors and stuff. So
yeah, also see another Becca creation. My little bag up there. My big head's blocking it, but it's there. Let's see. Oh, hi, Amy. Yay. Glad you could join us. We have one sprint left to go, I think. But hello.
I know, right?
See, y'all need to check out Becca's channel. She's linked. But all the RV stuff, all the like sewing, different creative stuff that boggles my mind. So much talent. I say that every time. I always feel so bad. I'm like, Becca, you're amazing on the live.
Like, yeah, I'm just
sorry, but thank you. We got Nissa, and then Brooke said that hers is Wiggy, and I'm careful because I still haven't really named it. I should go something.
I know, I never named my dragon either. And then did I tell you this when I was at the airport? This little girl, she was probably like this high. I think she was probably like 7 years old, and she just walks straight up to me and just like puts her hands on the dragon. And then her dad comes over and he's like, "Don't touch things that are like not." And she's all like, "I'm sorry." And then I'm like, it's okay, it's okay. She can touch it. And then she's like, "Does he have a name?" And I'm all like, "No." I go, "But you can name him if you want." And she's like, and then she sat there for like 3 minutes, and her dad was like, you could tell he was nervous and like, oh, she's just thinking like, oh God, but she was really concentrating.
And
then she's all like, yeah. And so then finally she's all like, "Gold nugget." I'm like, because mine's gold. And so I was all like, well, that's his name then. So now I call him Gold Nugget, because I'm all like, oh, I can't resist that.
That's amazing. That's so good. And yeah, how could you not? Oh my gosh.
It's so sweet. I was just like, oh.
That's so cute. Look at, but I just inspiring so many people with your dragon.
Well, it makes sense with a 7-year-old. It's like, you know, dragon.
Yeah. Did I tell you there was one time my mom and I were traveling together in an elevator, and this lady got on at the same time as us, and she audibly gasped, and she was scared. She's like, as if, I think she was like kind of religious, and or like super religious, like, and she was like, "Oh my God," and like a full, like, she thought for a second there was a miniature dragon and I had it, kind of thing. It's just,
oh my God.
He felt it too after, because I was like, "Do you want to like?"
So funny.
Oh my gosh! But gold nugget.
That is so funny.
Yes.
I know. And she was just like, it was like 3 minutes. Like, I could tell her poor father was just like, please hurry up and come up with a name. This poor woman is standing there staring at you with her bag. And I didn't care. I was like, I'm used to nanny and babysit. I'm all like, take your time. I'm cool.
Yeah. That's adorable.
Oh, God. Oh, wow. Holy crap. It's almost 5.
It is. Well, okay, real quick. I ask, so I have not started watching Anne with an E, but Brooke has been getting on my case to watch it. Have you seen it?
I have seen season 1. Just be prepared that I was not prepared for this, but I cried every episode.
That is why I don't know that I'm going to watch it. I can't do it.
Not necessarily a sad cry, but like emotional, like sweet, and like sometimes sad, but sometimes just so wonderful that you're just like, anyway, it's so good. I have not seen seasons 2 and 3 yet, because I was a little worried at how season 1 ended. And so, like, because there's certain tropes that I don't like, and it looked like they were setting up this trope. And I was like, I don't know if I want to watch it. So I do eventually.
Well, what shows have you been watching recently? Or what books have you been?
I have been watching, well, I watched Witcher. I think we talked about this.
Yeah. Or at least
Little Obsessed.
Mm-hmm. So good. So I've watched it twice now, because I made my parents watch it. And I was like, it's happening, you guys.
Oh, so good. And then one that was really good, when Stefan and I were sick, we binged seasons 1 and 2 of Mindhunter on Netflix. What? And it's about the guy that started basically the BAU at the FBI, because they didn't used to, like, when they used to catch like serial killers and stuff like that, they used to just put them in prison, and they just didn't even want to know anything. Like, these guys are psychos. We don't want to know anything about them. Just, they belong in prison. Thank God we caught them. And this guy was the guy that was like, look, if we learned about them, maybe it'll help us to catch and so he's the one who came up with the term serial killer. He's the one that so he went and he interviewed the these serial killers in prison, And then that's how the whole section of the FBI started. And really, in real life, it was one guy, but they decided for TV purposes to split him into two characters,
Oh, that's
like an older guy and a younger guy. Yeah,
good.
so it's definitely fictionalized, but it's good.
Fascinating. Ooh, okay. I'm excited then. I also I don't know how you feel about The Blacklist. I watched it when it was coming out for a while and then I stopped watching it and it's up to like season 5 or 6 now, but like they're
Oh
on,
yeah,
so I feel like I need to.
I've watched all of The Blacklist.
I think I need to watch it again. I can't even remember where I left off at this point, but I'm like I'm just gonna go for it. Just dive in.
It's fun. I mean, I enjoy it. The writing's good, the acting's good. It's just one of those fun popcorn shows.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. Well, shall we do one more sprint to finish it off? We can do like a 10-minute, and that way we'll have done like a whole hour almost of sprints. So, or more than an hour. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The question's gonna.
Oh, someone asked Alyssa asked, I got pretty bored of The Blacklist. Did it get better? Yes, it did. I know what you're talking about. There's a lull, and it's probably a lot of people dropped off around there.
I
And
wonder
then
where I dropped off at.
it might have been. And then they got their mojo back, and then and yes, Isabel said it gets dumb, but it did get dumb. I agree for a little bit, but now that this last season, I feel like they're back on track.
So interesting. Why does that happen to so many shows? It just eventually.
Yeah, it's like how much. Sometimes I think they just get overwhelmed of like how many twists and turns can we really have with this thing, and so
That's true.
yeah.
All right, let's see. Fourth and final sprint, you guys. We're gonna do, if I can get it, because again, I forgot to get it ready before I announced that we were doing. Let's see.
Yeah, let me do 10. I'm getting lots of trees this round.
So good. Which reminds me, because I got distracted last round, didn't do it, posted on Instagram, that I should also do it this time. Let's see. All right, you guys. Are you ready? 10:01.
Yeah.
And start. Yay!
Yay!
We did it!
Oh my gosh.
Hooray! Did you start the second chapter, or did you work on something else?
I started like the first sentence, and then I realized there were a couple of things that I just needed to put into chapter 1, like clarifications that I was, speeding through, and then I'm like, nah, I already know what they are, so I'm just going to go back and put them in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, because then it's done. Even though they're like basic, rudimentary, it's like then editing time I can expand.
Yes, exactly. Good to include it now.
What'd you do?
We're still kind of in the midst of the fight scene. We're about to end it, then start a panic for something else, and they got a hurly kind of thing. But
Yay! That's good though.
It's fun. I'm seeing a lot of people got a lot of words, which is really nice.
Yeah, especially in 10 minutes.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was feeling like. This was a weird one where I don't know that I got as much word-wise done. Fight scenes are always hard for me because I have to envision it so much. So I'm sitting here like, how does this actually work?
Right.
So I don't get near the amount of words, but I always feel good after a fight scene.
Yeah, I love action, but sometimes it's hard keeping track of everybody in the action scene.
Yes. That's what I think I redid the scene because I was trying to figure out who I needed to account for. And then I was like, you know what? You're telling it really from like, I'm writing third person, but it's really following our main character. I was like, just let it be a surprise to her. Then you don't have to include it. Just have her stuff and then find out. So
True.
I don't need to show this. It's fine. Brooke says, I had a book title idea and started searching for the name on Amazon and Goodreads to see if it's already been used. Oh, I had that for Project Death. Having not worked on it for a while, I had an idea. And then I was like, I should search this up. So, which I have not done yet. So, titles are just so.
Yeah, I always do that because I know. Oh, I'm sorry, Jasmine. She said still curious about where you can buy my books. Oh, I mean, you can go to my website, which they're on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and everything like that. But if you want to get an idea of what different series I have, because I have a bunch of different series, so I don't know what your cup of tea is. It's just BeccaCSmith.com.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. I was not prepared, but I was like, I have some of them here. I have the whole.
Oh, I was like, what?
So, I recommend these. I really liked Riser. So, I got stuff about there, but it always makes me happy to see them because I use it as inspiration. I just see it every day, and I'm just like, it's right there.
Yay. Yeah, it's strange writing a new series because kind of all my series, even though they're separate from each other, I like having them like they could be in the same world kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this one is just no, it's not. It's a totally different world. So
yeah, that's interesting. But what's really going to be funny is if in a couple of years after you've written this series, if you have another series in the future that could kind of be in the same world as
right?
Potentially, if you're just like, okay, just really big worlds.
Yeah, I mean, in this particular world, you could definitely do different.
A lot of different focuses
and
get a way different experience. So
yeah, this is like teen. I could do like what I originally was doing, which is more adult, but wow. Everyone did so well.
Yeah. Holy crap. Way to go. It's always so fun to see how well you did during the entire stream too. Just being like, I achieved a lot. Because I feel like, like today it added up to over an hour of work if you worked, during the whole day. So, woo.
I'll count that as one of my 1 hour sprints.
Hey, I feel like that should totally add up, right?
Yes.
Well, all right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Becca, for helping.
Oh, thank you.
Next month we'll be on Becca's channel because we alternate. We don't know when it'll be yet, but it'll happen. And if you want to find Becca's channel, it should be linked. I think I did that right this time, and I even did the @ so theoretically she should just like there. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.